Hey, good morning, love and peace. This is Ray. So how do you find your path? How do we know what is our direction in life? What is our main purpose? Why are we here? There's a lot of ways we can go about this. Usually I like the direct approach. The direct approach may not work for everybody. It may not work for everybody for the reasons that it can be a little bit nerve-wracking, can be a little bit painful. It entails having to be honest and fully open to what you find, what you come across. You're gonna have to remove a lot of the skeletons from your closet, so to speak, and some people just don't want to look at that part of themselves. They spend the majority of their lives trying to hide from those things, trying not to deal with those things, and it can be difficult. It really can in the beginning, because that's when all this resistance is like being in a vice grip. You're being squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, and it's just very difficult, very hard. And that's just the honest truth about it. And the other part of that honest truth is that it's all of that is just resistance, and it's not from outside of you. It's the resistance coming from within you. And so that's why it's one of the hardest things you will ever do. You're looking at your reflection. You're looking at who and what you are currently. And a lot of us don't like to do that. So we need to be honest with ourselves. That's the first step. And we need to be accepting of the information that we come across, that we find. And we need to be open and allowing of this information, of what we see, of the reflection of ourselves that we see. We need to be persistent. The reason we need to be persistent is as we're digging deep, as we're looking within ourselves and shedding away the illusions. There are gonna be times where you're gonna just want to quit. It's like I said, it's not an easy thing. But you need to be persistent, and you, most importantly, above all, you need to have the finite decision, a finite choice. You need to, in advance, make that decision that you're going to be on the path of awakening to who your true, authentic self is. And it has to be something you stick with. Now, here's the thing: most people don't realize that a finite decision is an absolute. It's never going to change. It should never change. Contemplating even changing it should not be ringing in your head. If it does, then that's okay. That's okay. And you're probably saying, well, you're just contradicting yourself because you said it should not be ringing your head. No, it should not be ringing your head. Because a finite, when you finally know that you've accomplished developing or working on and really accepting what a finite decision is, then you know that it's one of those, some of the things that is associated with that is you just don't think about any other option or any other direction, because you already say, nope, I'm going straight. I'm going to accomplish this, and that's it. So when you're at that level, that's just one of the signs that you're serious, that you've accomplished the development of that finite mindset, that you've developed or removed the resistance from you, within you. And it's kind of, I'm driving, it's kind of slippery out here. So you definitely want to make sure that you're willing and allowing and accepting of what you find as you're digging deep within yourself. You want to remove the different layers of the illusion. It's not going to be easy. So how do we remove some of those layers? How do we get to the truth of what our true path, our true calling is? By asking open-ended questions is a technique. It's a tool. Ask yourself. First of all, you take a pen and paper and be understanding and accepting to the fact that it can take a few weeks or even a few months, even a year to become clear. But normally a few months. If you are really focused on what I'm saying, it can take a few months. So what do? You write down everything that you want to do. Okay? You ask open-ended questions first. Open-ended questions is what is my true purpose in life? What is my true path? Write that down. Don't worry about it, just write it down. And anything associated with that question that comes to mind, write it down. Okay? Later on you can separate that and become more clear on that. Because this is going to be a process. You're going to be breaking it down. And you're going to go back at times and reread what you write down and really look at it again. And this can take a few times. Over time, you're going to start to separate or remove. You're going to scratch out like, well, let's say for example, you ask the question, what is it that I want? What is my true purpose in life? And let's say I say, well, my true purpose in life is to, maybe it's to be a good teacher. Maybe I always want to be a teacher or something like that. Maybe like a school teacher. And so I write school teacher. Okay, I can teach through the children. And then you can keep putting things associated with that. School teacher, children, teaching while young, you can put stuff like that. And then you can ask another question, and you create another column, and then next column you're like asking questions such as, why do I want to be a teacher? And then you write things down, whatever comes to mind, different words, write that down. And then you can do another column. Why is it so important to me that I must become a teacher? What is it that I feel that I can give to the children, to the youth, if I was a teacher? What kind of teacher do I want to be? What kind of grade level do I want to teach? You start asking questions like that because this is pertaining to, what you want to be if you're saying you want to be a teacher. Now, you can do this for different things that you believe you feel like they have that calling, that's something that you always wanted. Some people maybe always want to be an artist, or some people like always want to be a singer. Write those down and then break them down like I'm saying based off the different columns and asking simple open-ended questions. And then within those columns, you write down different words that are associated with that, whatever comes to mind when you ask that question. And eventually, as you go back, your job is to go and take a look after a while and be honest with yourself. And you have to feel at this point. You have to utilize your feelings. So if you're one of those people that say, oh, feelings is for women, then, you're not going to be truly honest with yourself. And it's going to be very hard for you to find your true path, just because, in all honesty, everything is a vibration of frequency, and an emotion is just a human way of understanding what a vibration is. It's its way of recognizing it or describing it, and which then we convert that into words. to best describe what it is. All the time still losing its translation. Okay? It's like a normal language. When you translate Spanish to English, you know, it's not the same. Anybody that tell you translating a Spanish joke into English, it just is not the same. It turns it into junk. So this is one of the techniques that you can use to help you become clear, open-ended questions, and you keep going at it until you have the one or two jobs, and then or paths in your life. And then a lot of times what happens is you realize, when you're open and you're honest, you realize that, yeah, I want to be a teacher, but it's not about being a teacher for the children. It's about being a teacher for the world. And then at that point, you start realizing that if you want to be a teacher for the world, how is the best way of being a teacher? By learning to be more of a student. Now, that sounds crazy to some. It's like, well, how can I be a teacher if I'm a student? Well, by being a student of yourself, by going within yourself and learning the things that take to be a good teacher externally in this world, by learning how to be that student. And remember, you see, most people say, how do you be a good parent? Most good parents remember how they were when they were children. They remember when they were at a certain age. And so that gives them that unconditional love. That gives them that patience, that understanding of how to deal with a child. When most majority of the grown-ups, they forget what it was like to be a child, and then they just get really crazy with their disciplinary, and they get violent, and they get, strict. And it's like, they forget. They forget what it was to be at that age. And so remembering to be what a student was like, what a student needed, and what a student continues to need is one of those things that you will always carry with you. A great martial artist will always be the student, no matter how masterful they become in their art. They will always be the student, because that will always allow for growth. It's always having that empty, half cup full and half empty. You're always letting things out, emptying it out, so that it can be refilled by the wisdom and knowledge as we continue to grow on our paths. Okay? So this is just the first step of how to become clear on your path. I'll make another recording of this, and we can continue through some tools and practical applications of these tools to help us become more clear, because it's not just a 1, 2, 3 thing. There's so many different tools. All right, so until next time, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This is Ray. Much love and peace. Bye.